All right, backtracking real quick. McGall's theory is pretty much she was not just looking at how movement, looking just at movement. It was looking at how movement is performed. That's like just like the basics. And so we're going back forward. Okay, back to behaviorism. So the first person up is Pavlov, and pretty much he created a classical conditioning. Classical conditioning is the origin of behaviorism, and pretty much like the basis of it is it's a process of learning that occurs from repeatedly pairing a neutral stimulus to a stimulus that causes a reaction. And operant conditioning is also related to Pavlov, but actually the person who developed it is B.B. Skinner. But if, at least for us, we didn't go with B.B. Skinner. So if something like that pops up, anything with conditioning, it's probably going to be Pavlov. And pretty much what operant conditioning is consequences of a behavior change. And pretty much behavior followed by a rewarding stimulus will allow that behavior to occur more often. And behavior followed by a punishing or a negative stimulus will allow that behavior to occur less. So pretty much what's stated is that rewards and punishment determine behavior. Now going into culture. Culture is the sum of experiences, values, beliefs, ideas, judgment, and attitudes that shape or give continuous form to an individual. Culture shapes who we are, and it looks into our person and our environment. Person is our motivation, like I said before, and our culture that makes up our personality. And the environment is our physical, social, and attitudinal environment. And norms are agreed upon expectations and rules that guide individual function of a group. Cultural norms is development of conformity and consistency of behavior that is appropriate within a group or a society. Values are internal broad preferences concerning appropriate courses of actions or outcomes. Values justify the expectation of norms. They develop how we view others, and if what they do is good or bad, or desirable or disgusting. Culture is learned as people experience the complexity of social life, and also is learned by being taught to the young by the adults in the community. Cultural fluidity, being able to understand cultural differences, how they manifest in everyday occupations, and pretty much allowing individuals to consider their own primary culture as reference points when doing therapy. Race is a method used to define a particular social group, typically used to refer to a person's physical appearance, like their skin color, their hair color, eye shape, and eye color. Pretty much their physical characteristics. Ethnicity is cultural identity based on their ancestry, their language, and their beliefs. Cultural awareness is recognizing that there are other ways of viewing the same scenario through perceptions and values. Cultural can also affect habits and routines. What habits are is learned behavior patterns regularly followed that they become automatic. And routines are predictable and consistent patterns of actions. All right, we're going to go into poverty. And poverty can impact development. Pretty much also, poverty is also barriers. And what are barriers? Barriers are limitations to healthcare. God. All right, so poverty is pretty much insufficient resources. My bad. Poverty is insufficient resources. Absolute poverty is severe deprivation. May only have the basic needs like water, shelter, food. They might only have that. May have a few, but they're still like trying to get by. Chronic poverty, it pretty much means ongoing poverty, and it's the person holds little hope for improvement and has poverty expectation. So that's probably pretty much the only one that has to do with like how you feel. You feel like you're stuck. That's why it's ongoing. And there's acute poverty, and it's caused by a particular incident. It's pretty much like it happens suddenly, like a job loss or illness. So pretty much poverty, the three levels of poverty are Absolute, chronic, and acute poverty. Occupational deprivation is a condition or something external that happens to a person that limits their opportunity to participate in a valued occupation. Health literacy is the promoting or helping the patient obtain, process, and comprehend health information with the patient's family, the patient themselves, or the community. So reflexes. Going back to that real quick. Primitive reflexes, actually. Okay, so primitive reflexes are the first part of brain development, neuroplasticity, and sensory impulse connectivity. And they're pretty much automatic reflexes that happen naturally. They should only be active for like the first few months when a child is born. Primitive reflexes, they integrate into normalized movement. Bilateral integration is pretty much the ability to perform purposeful movement that requires interaction between both sides of the body in a smooth and refined manner. Crossing the midline is moving limbs and eyes across the mid-sagittal plane of the body. Okay, so primitive reflexes. We're going to go into that in a minute.